Hello YouTube, welcome to our celebration. We recently posted our 50th episode, yay! So Watermelon Girl said we should celebrate by featuring 50 things you probably didn't know about the Immortal Paladin. Some newer viewers might not know that this show is a reboot. The original show was called The Mighty Paladin. A lot of stuff has changed with the reboot. As you can see, the characters were all redesigned for the new series. I'm still pretty much the same guy, but now I have a less cartoony look, and you can tell that I'm wearing armor. I always wore armor, but you couldn't tell just by looking with the old style. We also made some major changes to our backgrounds. In the original series, this was my bedroom at my mama's house. This is my room in the new series. This was Charlie's old garage. And here it is in the new series. And this was our old team headquarters. And this is the new one. Check it out, it's awesome! Another thing that's changed with the reboot is the style of humor. In the original series, we did a lot of fourth wall breaks, and we often commented on silly things we did because of the genre we were doing or because of GACHA. But that kind of thing doesn't work with our new, more serious tone. We still joke around and try to keep the humor alive, but it's less campy and more sitcom. Not everyone can be Rick and Morty. Let's talk about the main reason for our reboot. We have a large cast of characters. In the original series, a lot of them had powers. It was getting hard to think of stories that could challenge the team. We love all of our characters, but this time we're going to keep the cast a lot less powerful. Those who still get powers won't get as much power. But on the positive side, that means we won't have to keep writing characters out of the story. A lot of the characters in this show are based on real people that our writer knows or used to know, and of course I'm based on the writer himself. You know, a lot of people were sad about losing some of our backgrounds and props when we updated from Gacha Life to Gacha Club. But since I use a green screen for most of my stuff and I still have Gacha Life on my computer, I didn't lose anything. Of course, making all of this work means lots and lots of layers. Most of my pictures use at least 5 layers. One for the background, one for the chest emblem, one for the characters, one for the word balloons, and one for the words. Yeah, I usually do my own custom word balloons because the ones in Gacha aren't where I need them to be. And a lot of the pictures use even more. See this picture from episode 47? It took around 15 layers because of the custom background and Tai Chi stance. It was only on screen for a few seconds, but I loved making it. One of the great things about a cartoon is that you can have any celebrity you want make a guest appearance, and I've taken advantage of this. So far, the celebrities I've used have been playing roles. I haven't had any appear as themselves, but I'm going to, you'll see. Our first and most frequent guest star was Stan Lee, playing a role I called Cameo Man. He appeared in over a dozen episodes, and even uttered his most famous line, "With great power comes great responsibility." Our next big star was Bruce Lee, who has appeared in wall art in my room and played the role of Bruce, the martial arts instructor for Villain's gang, the Death Patrol. Here he is in his dojo. As you can see, the character Bruce is also a fan of the real Bruce Lee. Next we featured Marlon Brando in the role of Danny DeLasco, Robert De Niro as the Executioner, and Joe Pesci as Joe Romano. In our team's gym we had a poster featuring Arnold Schwarzenegger, and you might have noticed that I had him playing the role of Frankenstein. And that one time we got to see inside Steelhead's home, we saw a poster of Sylvester Stallone on the wall, just to give you a glimpse into his personality. And not all of our guest stars are actual celebrities. Recently we had a series of cameos by a popular energy drink. Our characters have personalities, and I don't just mean the main characters. Even if a character is only there because of his job, we don't just treat him like a prop. We like to give them all personalities. There's a lot more opportunity for humor that way. And that brings us to the next thing. Our main characters have more to their personalities than just being good or bad, or just being some stereotype. They have attitudes, interests, and beliefs that make them like real people. When Kathy first appeared, she introduced herself as comic relief, which was just a joke. She's really much more than that. She's Charlie's girlfriend, she's Kitty's best friend, she loves cats, she likes to sing and dance, she's full of energy, and she's smart too. People of many different faiths and people with no particular faith appear in this series. Swansong and I are Catholic, Gadget and most of the cast are Baptist. Melissa is Catholic, but she follows a Melkite or Greek rite. FANGCHU is Taoist, Bruce was Buddhist, Overmaster Vlad is Romanian Orthodox. The thing is, I live in Alabama and people around here talk about their religion. I'm not a preacher and I'm not going to try to preach to anyone, but faith is a big part of who you are as a person. When our writer was in high school, he was on the academic bowl team. He even got picked for the city-wide team and flew to Florida to compete. His team was eliminated on the first day and they had to spend the whole weekend at the beach. True story. So that's why I've been competing on the academic bowl in this show. In academic bowl, each team member has a specialty. Mine is social studies. You can figure out what each character's specialty is by the questions they answered. Our writer has created a whole universe for this series, including superheroes around the world, really cool fictional countries and cities, and alien civilizations and exciting mystic realms. In our universe, there's a place called Dinosaur Island that's about the same size as Taiwan, and it's right between Taiwan and Japan. Our Romania is ruled by a king named Overmaster Vlad, who drove all the vampires out of Transylvania. And our world is overall a lot less populated, so we still have lots of unexplored wilderness. We have a timeline to our history that goes back to before the Great Flood, and it tells the origin of our alien civilizations. Guess what? Earth's ancient civilizations were not built by ancient aliens. Our ancestors knew how to use magic and super science. A lot of our history you may already know because it's either the same as yours, or it's told in the myths and legends and public domain characters, like King Arthur, Frankenstein, Dracula, and the Scarlet Pimpernel and Zorro. So if you have a favorite public domain character and you want to know if they exist in the immortal universe, then just ask in the comments. If it's someone I've never heard of, I'll look them up and then decide. Of course, this is a superhero world, and in keeping with the traditions of the genre, superheroes as we know them made their first appearance during World War II. The process for turning ordinary people into mutants was invented in Germany. It was stolen by the British, who shared it with the Americans, and after the war the Russians learned it from captured German scientists. Of course, superheroes caused some changes to the world, and one of the biggest is the X Amendment to the Constitution, which grants every American the right to be a superhero. It also grants states the rights to regulate superheroes, so we do have rules that we have to follow. As superheroes, we can investigate crimes and act on information we get from our superpowers, but we have to respect people's rights. We can't barge into people's homes or disrupt their businesses unless we have good evidence that we can turn over to the police, or reason to think that someone is in immediate danger. Oh, and we can't use excessive force. If we go around killing people or causing extreme property damage, we'll get in big trouble. And of course, the American superhero organization, ASHO, exists to keep us in line. A lot of superheroes, like me and my team, work for ASHO, and ASHO steps in to police any superheroes who step out of line. Another big change is the city of Technopolis. In our world, Norfolk, Virginia was wrecked by a battle in World War II and rebuilt as Technopolis, the most high-tech city in the world. And Technopolis is the home of the Knights of St. George, a superhero group founded in 1941 by the heroes who defeated the German invaders. Last Crusader and Epic are two of the original members, and they're still there today. This is FANGCHU and his family. You might know them from the original series or from the Sakura Gozen videos. He recently appeared in this series, and I could do a whole episode about them. For now, Well, let's just say that they live in China and they're very complex characters. Of course, most of our stories are set close to our hometown of Birmingham, Alabama, where our writer really grew up, and we often feature real-life locations and cultural elements of that city in our show. See, this is Woodlawn High School, where our writer really graduated. Miss Tharp was his favorite teacher, and she really did coach the academic bowl team that he was on. This is the Alabama School of Fine Arts. Our writer went there for a year and met some of his best friends there. Swan Song and Johnny Delasco used to go there, and Shelley Green still goes there. But this is a super version of Birmingham, with superheroes, monsters, and an underground mystic river running below, so we're protected by the VULCAN'S heroes. But Birmingham really does have caves, and the Mystic River is an old urban legend. In the original series, one of the VULCAN'S heroes was Blue Blaze. The cast got changed a bit this time because I promised Flip, he's a real person, that he'd be there from the start. But Blue Blaze still made an appearance in episode 25 as a member of the Ramsey Academic Bowl team, John Young. We have a lot of characters who use magic, and like a lot of fictional worlds, we have our own rules for magic. But ours are based on the game Dungeons & Dragons. Still, most wizards only know a few spells, except for Dr. Weird, who inherited Faust's library. Our team's mentor, Dr. Weird, works for a London-based international organization called the Order of Merlin. They investigate magical threats and arrest magical criminals around the world. You probably know that I'm a martial artist, but did you know that our writer has studied martial arts and tries to have me and any other fighters in our stories use consistent fighting styles? Billy and I use ninjutsu, which Billy describes as being like Jeet Kune Do but without all the preaching about rejecting the classical mess, and he uses more weapons. FANGCHU uses Tai Chi and Hung Gar. Bulletproof Boxer uses American-style boxing. Our writer was a fan of wrestling back when it was good, before Vince McMahon took a giant dump all over it. And when I fought the Executioner, we found out that he was a wrestling fan too. In the original series, you could see some pictures of wrestling on the TV he was watching, but those were just random shots I found on the internet. So of course, when we did the same fight in the new series, we had to do it better. So this time I made a wrestling match in GACHA and showed it on the TV. If you look at the TV, you can watch the match. It's in episode 21. Oh, here's a cute little detail you probably didn't notice. In Charlie's garage, and later in his room at our base, he has a calendar, and we change the picture from time to time to show the passage of time in the story. You probably know that Charlie invented my nunchucks and made all of the superhero equipment, but did you know my equipment is based on real-world science? I'm not saying it's all real things that could be made, but you could make electric nunchucks like mine. My armor is made of a real material called Proteus, and my insulated tights are made of real creatures called tardigrades that can survive in extreme environments. You may have noticed that no one is wearing those doctor's masks that are everywhere these days. That's not because our writer is opposed to them, it's because I don't want my work to be dated. Eventually, we're all going to be done with this stuff, and we don't want our work to remind people of it. I got some comments about how stupid these two guys had to be to try to mug a superhero. But that joke was a reference to these guys, the muggers from Viva Dirt League, the YouTube channel. I love them, and Viva Dirt League is a big inspiration for my new series, Players. The last thing on my list is the most important. I read all of your comments and I respond to most of them. I really do care about you guys, and you're great people, and I'm going to love you forever.